Alright, hey, what's up, everyone? This is another video from yours truly, Not So Jared Troll 23, and the title of this video is $225 lesson: losing my virginity at 24 by pay for play. Notes on the black below too. And again, this is a re-recording, given that as previously on my last re-recording of my first video, again I jabbed a lot on this topic, which I believe has I gave a very interesting take, so I'll redo it for the sake of clarity, brevity, and concisiveness. Which again, this video was previously recorded on August 7th, 2025. The agenda for today is my official anecdote, a YouTube comment, I basically dumped the TLDR of what I will explain more thoroughly on this video. Why I decided for pay for play, basically my weak ass justification, benefits that I notice, drawbacks if any. The case against this is that if are you demisexual, final thoughts and references if any. My official anecdote, a YouTube comment. One of again, I guess one of the prominent, uh, I guess black pill commentators, which is Philippe, made a community post regarding, basically a survey about, in your opinion, what's the best solution for an average guy in his 20s. It gives four options, in which 280, I guess, individuals voted. I assume most of them, if not all of them, are male, so we'll go by those hefty assumptions. And there are four options: surgery maxing, geomaxing, and paying for sex slash give up. Given that I have a very, I guess, a very pragmatical training of data scientists and data analysis, by extension, actual statistics, I can assume that this 28%, just to be quite generous, the ones that actually pick, paying for sex is less than the ones that they say they just should give up out of dignity. So to give this very generous assumption, let's say that paying for sex is around 10%, which by a quick mental calculation, the 10% of 280 is basically 20, 28 votes. And even then, it's quite a hefty assumption, which of course I voted. My justification for this was as follows, and as I stated, I already paid for sex last week. Frankly, I am glad to get it out of my system and felt much more relief. It may sound corny, but it's not as spectacular than you think. It is physically demanding, which I did not expect it to be that demanding, but learned much from it. I concluded that many men want the connection prior to copulation, like a romantic conquest, quote unquote, that makes the woman validate their entire being with the provision of sex. In my case, I just get aroused easily regardless of that, so whatever. What I found extremely funny is that the escort was looking at me like, "You really haven't had the chance? You are good looking, what the fuck?" Laughing emoji, laughing emoji, laughing emoji. And that is the attention of my first time. For context, I have strong facial features, a warrior skull, and nice eyes. I am 5 feet 10, and the girl was like 5 feet 8. But yeah, if you tend to get emotionally attached to feel strong sexual arousal, then do not pursue further. Then I edited afterwards that Philippe commented, which I'm currently 24. Go figure. Philippe replied back, which he said based, "I never understood insults who remain virgins until their 30s, etc., and refuse to ever pay. Ego, I guess. If you are not truly desired, you will have to pay in one way or another." And this is where I decided to basically give a more thorough justification with this video. Regardless, the main point of my comment is that I actually expected to get more than I thought, but didn't feel any emotional attachment, which is one thing I believe many men tend to have regard with sex more. I argue more easily than women. Why I decided for this, um, the number one reason in my case is that I have a very high libido, a very high sexual appetite that clouds my judgment. Goes without saying that for any proper decision that may carry a lot of actual weight and consequence to your day-to-day life, most likely a very bad consequence, a very damaging consequence than that, besides maybe, an STD in this case, is that indeed it clouds my judgment. I don't know my levels of testosterone, which I may check, on on a few months later after I record this video. I just know that from intuition, by literally by being myself, that I get horny. My level of horniness, if you will, was higher on middle school. Thanks to the hormonal sprout that I explained on my first video. But regardless, the point of the matter is that it clouded my judgment, which is one of the things that I wanted to, again, if I could mitigate, but given that it's basically impossible, biologically speaking, to mitigate to an extent, to at least have it out of my system, like, okay, make peace with it. Second, masturbating at almost on a daily basis. Because what I was saying, that because I have a very high libido to like to masturbate, sometimes, yeah, I just do it out of impulse, or I guess out of um like a routine. But yeah, it clouds your judgment besides that, and it makes me waste my time. Again, lack of romantic success. Besides the date that I had recently on this year, I didn't have any prior romantic success, so most likely that, ironically enough, neurodivergence of this experience, excuse me, my typical neurodivergence for this, uh, may, on a sixth sense level of women, a level of intuition of women, may be hindering my luck. Regardless, I haven't had the opportunity to lose it the the classical way. And the fourth, which in my case is another point of contestment, which may differ from some of you, is that I already invested heavily on my looks. In a way, I'm already paying to increase my chances of sexual selection. As I previously stated on my video, technically because I'm undergoing my looks maxing journey to recoup the amount of, basically, to lessen the severity of my scrawniness on my face due to my severe acne that I've been having basically all my years prior to this one. And I already been paying a lot, so why not, like, pay it from the get-go? I mean, isn't that what I do with no certainty of the matter? I mean, it makes sense to me. If you want to go up on a very more capitalistic, pragmatical approach, technically speaking, accounting for basic nutrition, basically paying for the right to eat and not die of hunger, you're basically paying to increase or decrease the chances. So for me, it's a case closed with no other logical conclusion more succinct than that. And five is that I have a safe financial net, which with my current job and some investments basically eases out, the impact. I mean, it's not that I'm doing it frequently, but at the end of the day, need to have money. So compared to what I need to invest, besides my self improvement and, I guess, maintenance routines, it's not much, to put it lightly. Benefits that I notice. The one that I argue is the most interesting one in my case is that I stopped biting my nails. I assumed it was an anxious stick, that it was my indication for me to basically overcome my sexual frustrations, to, like, get it out of your system, as I previously stated. Uh, which, I mean, if you care about hands, that's a good thing. I tended to bite my nails to a point, to the actual skin, so it was actually bad at it, very bad, very very bad. But yeah, I stopped biting my nails. That's very good. I didn't expect that, but again, if if that helps you, I mean, that's a benefit if you have that anxious stick. My lustful thoughts don't come frequently. Again, thanks to, basically getting out of my system, having the curiosity basically killed from my experience, for the better and for the worse, has helped me out. Basically lessen the lustful thoughts, and basically lessen the the recurrence of my of clouding my judgment due to, basically being horny. Uh, I like blowjobs. I shouldn't go further than that, so I'll take it as this. I mean, they do arouse me. Like I see them perform, I like it. I like perform on me. It's best thing ever. Best thing you can experience as a man. I mean, you're missing out, guys. And now I feel more nonchalant with women. Given that I guess finally lose my B card to an extent, to some the still lost in count because it was I was paying. As I stated before, I believe to an extent everyone pays whether they want to accept it or not. The severity and I guess the honesty of how one will deal with it, it's up to us, up to every one of us. But I don't feel needy anymore. Maybe it's because I finally demystified that aspect, and I frankly am glad for it because it shouldn't be that in my honest opinion shouldn't be that of a priority, but you got to get it out of your system because it's a good experience in itself. It's basically what we are predisposed to do as biological animal beings, so that I mean it's a good experience to have, whether the quote unquote legitimate way or the quote unquote illegal way. Drawbacks, if any. Financial costs is to take, ironically enough, although I explained that I have a very good financial net, it doesn't discount the fact that it takes around 13% of my weekly paycheck if I decide to go for pay to play for once per week, just to give you like a recurrent measure. It accumulates steadily on the long run, so I mean I gotta take it more on a very a calculated basis. And it has made me genuinely reconsider if pursuing a relationship is really a good goal. Assuming that what I realistically wanted was sex, besides platonic validation, if you will, uh, I thought I had those, I guess, those teenager thoughts resolved, which I didn't now. This is reflected on a very good comment one guy made on a very good video from Martin Goldberg, which goes like this from water bottle 1236. I'm going through a part of my life where I have to decide between more love or more freedom. I think I'll take more freedom. Fundamentally, it's up to all of us to decide what we're willing to compromise with. So, what do you want to do with your life? And that's one thing I didn't consider up until having this experience, which again may cloud my judgment on the long run or make me more anxious than it should have. The case against this in my heart of hearts is this question: are you demisexual? Basically, in this case, although it's a very big mini word from the LGBT plus community, basically anything besides anything outside of being heterosexual, straight, if you will, is do you need a romantic connection first to get sexually aroused? By giving the very brief Oxford Languages definition of this concept, is basically that demisexual is experiencing sexual feelings and attraction only after developing a close emotional relationship, not on the basis of first impressions. On a close emotional relationship, excuse me, and not on the basis of first impressions, physical characteristics, etc. Basically, you really want the validation, like the actual, I guess, ritual, if you will, before the mating. It's totally okay, but you gotta be honest with yourself. And also, I mean, to an extent, it's way more dishonest, more hypocritical. So be, I guess, be upfront about it. But if you're gonna have a lot of like emotional complications when you have sex and basically form a connection with an escort, I understand why, but you're wasting your money. And I don't believe that it'll be useful for some of you because in my heart of hearts, again, I argue this is the problem. So always think about this question: do you need a romantic connection first to get sexually aroused? I just put it up in the air. As you can see, I mean, this is what you want, fine. But I mean, I prefer to go straight to the point. Maybe it's my hormones, I don't know, most likely. But again, I'm one of the few that can tolerate this decision. Final thoughts. Pay for play, if done with your mind, heart, and genitals on the right places, can be a very joyful experience. The most important, I guess, from my experience, is stop masturbating frequently. You might have numbed your genitals to the actual act with a condom, and by extension, make you reach climax very, very hardly so. Regardless, the sexual act might be physically exhausting, but honestly, it feels very good. Let's be honest. It's a good physical exhaustion, if you will. If you want a relationship as the ultimate validation for the provision of sex, you might get a moral panic by pay for play, based on what I previously explained. And again, keep the question that I made on the prior on the prior slide on your mind. Be honest with it, because if not, you might question a lot of things in life that make you honestly wish to not be born at all. Regardless, although it is very, very important tenets to keep in mind if you undertake this route, good luck and Godspeed. Enjoy your sexuality. At the end of the day, whether we want to accept it or not, whether we want to like it or not, this is a part of our experiences, regardless male or female. So if you have the opportunity to to copulate, have protection, don't risk it, don't be stupid. Enjoy your sexuality, enjoy the climax, be respectful, respect each other's limits, be professional, ironically enough. But regardless, enjoy.